Hello everyone, I hope you all are doing well. Before starting today's episode, I would like to discuss something with you all. Winters are coming and I think it is a perfect time to narrate horror stories to each other. It is also a perfectly spooky time in both physical and literal sense. The days are shorter, so there is more darkness, and darkness leads to fear, so and so forth. There is a time and place for listening to a ghost story. You can't, for instance, listen to it on a crowded road, nor you can listen it on a sunny afternoon in the garden. No, a ghost story should be heard late at night in the light of a solitary lamp that is casting weird shadows around the room. One may be sitting comfortably in a favorite armchair, or one may be in bed shortly before putting out the bedside lamp and submitting to the dark. The story is more effective if there is howling wind outside making weird noises at the window pane, or better, if there is a deathly still silence, a silence that one dreads being broken. Today's story is based on real-life event which I heard from someone I know. Now, having that said, turn your lights off and be ready for this new adventure. Jehan was a friendly and cheerful man. One winter night he was returning to his home after work. It was about midnight. He was on his bike, but in the midway his bike stopped due to a mechanical issue. It was a dark, lonely and scary night. There were no mechanics around. The road was long with trees on each side, so he parked his bike somewhere but at a safe place. After parking the bike, he walked to a bus stop to get a bus to his home. There was a bench to sit on where a spiritual saint was already sitting. In India, Hindu saints or monks are called sadhu. Jehan was a friendly guy. He could make friends easily with his smile and with his way of talking. He started to talk to that sadhu. Sadhu too enjoyed his company and started to get into the conversation with him. While talking, unknowingly they entered into a conversation on paranormal and spiritual things. Jehan did not believe in all this initially, so he started arguing with the sadhu and persuading him to believe that those things are all fake. But this sadhu was not ordinary. He was an Aghori. Aghori is an Indian word that is given to a sadhu who had done a lot of meditations to get supernatural powers. He said to Jehan that he could prove all his claim regarding paranormal forces and spirits. Jehan laughed at him. Sadhu asked him to go to a nearby funeral ground with him where he could prove him all these things exist. Jehan readily agreed to go there. Sadhu and Jehan left the bus stand and went there. It was a place where dead people are burnt as per Hindu teachings. Sadhu sat at one corner of the ground and started to do his work to prove his paranormal claims. He fixed a small wooden stick in the soil and tied one side of the thread with it. He took the other side of the thread and handed it over to Jehan. Jehan held the thread tightly and Sadhu told him not to leave the thread at any condition. Jehan held the thread and Sadhu started to drop some sugar and salt on the ground beneath the thread. After that, Sadhu started reciting some mantras in the meditation posture. Now Jehan started getting scary feelings. Sadhu told him to close his eyes and not to open them until he tells him to do so. Now Sadhu started to chant those mantras in a loud voice, while Jehan's eyes were closed. He chanted and meditated for a while and then he asked him to open his eyes. As Jehan opened his eyes, he witnessed something that he had never seen in his life before. He saw that some men are licking sugar and salt from the ground with their tongue. Their bodies were transparent. He could look through them. Some of them were his relatives whom he had seen dying himself. He got so scared. Out of fear, he dropped the thread that he was holding. Sadhu warned him not to leave the thread until the transparent men who were dead spirits completely finished eating the sugar and salt. Jihan, out of fear, dropped that thread and ran towards the road. Sadhu warned him, but he did not listen and just ran. He even did not know that where he was going, but he was frightened. While running, he could hear weird noises from behind him. He did not have the courage to turn around to see who was following him. Somehow, after a long run, he managed to get a taxi and arrived home. His mother opened the door. He told everything to his parents. His parents assured him that everything would be fine, and he should not worry at all. But he was just not in his control. However, his parents managed to put him to sleep. But they couldn't sleep because they were worried about their one and only son. The next day, his parents woke up early and opened the door to his room to check if everything was fine with him. But sadly, nothing was. He was not there. He didn't open the door, then where could he be? His parents were really worried. They informed their neighbors and explained the situation. Their neighbors started searching for Jihan. They searched everywhere in the nearby areas but could not get him. At last, Jihan was found at the same funeral ground where he was doing a paranormal act with the sadhu the last night. He was sleeping there just as he was sleeping in the bedroom. He was brought back to his home. His parents, neighbors, and relatives woke him up. They asked him how he went there, and he answered he didn't know. They asked him many questions, but he remained silent. Soon he started behaving very abnormally. He would laugh when no one is talking. He would often untie his mother's hair and smell them while she is asleep. Furthermore, he ate stuff a normal person wouldn't dare eat. It felt like he was not in his own control. His family took him to a neurologist hurriedly. Doctors tested him, and in the test they found out that he had lost his brain because of the intense fear. This report left everyone crying. That winter night with that Aghori sadhu really ruined his happy life. His mental condition even deteriorated more. Doctors could not understand the case. They tried their best to bring him back to normal, but they constantly failed. They could not save him. At last, Jihan died of his mental illness and burned at the same funeral ground where that Aghori sadhu did an evil act to prove his claim.